What makes a management game perfect? The smell of fresh banknotes, the sound of an assembly line speeding up, the adrenaline rush of buying a skyscraper after hours of hard work to save up the capital. Today, you'll find out with me. But first, tell me, are you ready to become an emperor of digital profits? I'm Andrew, and today I'm not just presenting games to you. Today, I'm inviting you on a journey that starts from a shabby kiosk and ends with the control of an entire nation. 23 titles perfect for those who love to make the economy tick and watch their numbers grow on the screen. Stick around until the end, because the presentation follows a logic that will only become clear as we move through the journey. This video is sponsored by Instant Gaming, the best platform to buy video games at discounted prices. Big Ambitions is a sandbox game where you start with absolutely nothing, but right in the heart of a bustling New York City. You'll control your avatar in an isometric world, and at the beginning, with no means of transportation, you'll have to settle for a job as a cashier at the grocery store down the street. But with the savings from your first job, you'll be able to pay for the rent on a small warehouse where you can sell fake flowers to distracted tourists. Then you'll be able to afford a car and maybe even open a chain of supermarkets, and so on, all the way to infinity. The game simulates the building of an empire from the ground up in a world where money never sleeps, and anyone who does risk losing golden opportunities. Just a heads up though, you need to sleep too. I mean, your avatar needs to eat and sleep, but so do you. It's a pretty addictive game. Game Dev Tycoon, on the other hand, starts in a less flashy setting than the city. Imagine a garage in the 80s with faded Pac-Man posters on the walls. Your dream is to write the code that will earn you the Game of the Year award. You begin your adventure banging your head against ridiculous bugs, trying to learn from every sales report about what went wrong. You'll be scratching your head thinking about what's needed for your next big release, more gameplay or a stronger story. You'll never stop celebrating when your logo appears on consoles worldwide. It's definitely an outdated title, but one that kept me glued for hours and gave me just as many hours of enjoyable fun. Two years later, in 2015, Software Inc. was released. The elevator doors open to an office that smells of fresh cement and toner. Welcome! This company, you see, is like a family in the sense that you'll never escape us and will keep working together to become a true unicorn. Now, it's not just about good ideas anymore. You'll need architects to design open plan offices, HR to steal talent from the competition, and heroic system administrators who keep server farms running, consuming more power than OpenAI. The market is procedurally generated, offering plenty of fun and fierce competition. It's not a game for everyone, but if you love the world of software development, I'd recommend giving it a try. If Big Ambitions had you playing with retail, in Transport Fever 2, you dive into heavy logistics. You start with 2 rusty locomotives and the classic crushing loan, but soon enough, you'll get the hang of it and start raking in profits with rails, trains, trucks, ships, and even 1930s planes. Just beware, everything needs to run like a Swiss watch or your profits will derail. In this game, expanding too quickly will leave you with more red ink than buying a course from a scammy guru. It's a game that rewards surgical planning. If opening Microsoft Excel feels like home, you're in the right place. High seas, high profits. Now close your eyes and think of Transport Fever, but on the ocean, with vast business opportunities buying and selling spices, hides, and tools. In high seas, high profits, you start your game with a small sailing ship, and if you've got a few gray hairs, like I'm sure you do, you might think, is this the spiritual successor to Patrician and Port Royal? I'd say, yes, but we're talking about a very recent title still in early access. I gave it a shot and even played some gameplay on my first channel. I liked it. By the way, did you know that the top financial analysts in the world recommend subscribing to this channel to see your profits skyrocket? Just kidding, I made that up. But if you do subscribe, you'll always stay updated with news, tutorials, and gameplay on all the games that really make your brain work. Now, a total change of atmosphere. No more containers. You want to use rails to give space to the roller coaster designer inside you. Planet Coaster lets you build a massive theme park and monetize every laugh from every child, and even every cheerful vomit from the blue tornado. This wonderful theme park simulator follows a long tradition that started with theme park and went through Roller Coaster Tycoon. In 2024, a second episode was released, bringing a massive graphical update and new ways to empty the wallets of your visitors. It's the perfect mix of creativity and micromanagement. If you love refining details down to the last cent, this is your playground. Got the hang of roller coasters? Perfect. Now try entertaining hippos and pandas who cost more than top-tier Striker. Planet Zoo is the paradise of animal micromanagement. You'll get lost building the right enclosures and ensuring every animal gets its proper care. All to prevent lions from escaping while kids are in line to watch them. Its graphics are still stunning today, and it has a very generous workshop. Ideal if you want to prove that the balance between profit and natural well-being exists, until the monthly financial statement arrives. Same concept, but swap the hippos for a dozen hungry velociraptors. Here, the business model is simple. Make big money with big lizards. You'll definitely need to build tougher enclosures than the ones you designed for lemurs in Planet Zoo, but if things go south, you'll have the opportunity to watch an influencer get devoured by a T-Rex, -1 follower. The dinosaur AI has improved compared to the first game, and genre enthusiasts have greeted it with positive reviews across platforms. Not the deepest management game, but it delivers adrenaline spikes and guaranteed screen time. Need capital? Start cutting costs even on the essentials like your favorite video games. Instant gaming helps you save up to 90% on the titles I'm mentioning today. Affiliate link below. Enough with the dinosaurs, let's get back to something more human, the thirst for pale ale and pretzels. In Tavern Master, you start with 4 rickety tables and 2 barrels of beer, and from there, you'll do everything to attract new customers. Will you cook the most inviting stew in the region, or lower prices to take advantage of society's mass alcoholism? The core of the game is the classic buy, expand, decorate cycle, but the satisfaction it delivers is highly rewarding. The perfect relaxation after avoiding a lawsuit from a murderous dinosaur. Feeling thirsty after all that talk of beer? Well, now step into the silence of abbeys where the wort bubbles beneath stone arches. You start with a small brewing hall and a few sacks of malt. You can follow ancient recipes or experiment with IPAs that would make a Berlin hipster blush. Each well-crafted pint brings fame, coins, and thirsty pilgrims. Then you can invest your profits to create a lovely herb garden, expand the cellars, and watch your margins grow like my belly after Oktoberfest. If you've always dreamed of turning water into liquid gold, this is your management monastery. After all that beer, you'll need a bed to sleep off the hangover. Inn Tycoon is the perfect game to build one. You start with an inn that wouldn't even make it onto a mouse's wish list. You'll need to build and renovate rooms, hire reliable staff, and create a menu that satisfies both merchants and knights. One soup after another, and you'll have enough gold coins to pay for a new wing with stone fireplaces. It's not a difficult game because you really have to try to make things go wrong. But if you like the idea of a relaxing tycoon game with an inn theme, this is perfect for you. But do you know what happens when you chug beer and stuff yourself with pork shank morning and night? You end up in the hospital, and luckily, in this video, I'm going to show you how to build one and make big money from it. If I previously mentioned the spiritual successor to Theme Park, here we have the spiritual successor to Theme Hospital. Small note, the founders of 2 Point Studios actually come from Bullfrog. Welcome to a world where diagnoses have names like Lightbulb Head and Dirty Feet. You need to build colorful departments, hire doctors who love coffee breaks more than their patients, realism 10 out of 10. Set the coffee machine prices to airport level rates. That'll teach them. and watch your balance soar. The game doesn't take itself too seriously, addressing the theme of illness with humor, without including any real medical conditions, and simplifying the tycoon elements to just filling the demand by purchasing the necessary equipment and specialists. It's not a groundbreaking title, but in my humble opinion, it's still a little gem that's definitely worth checking out. If too much irony makes you cringe, here's the serious version among hospital management games, Project Hospital. This one has a strong focus on simulation, which raises the entry bar but gives the title much greater strategic depth. You can play in sandbox mode or campaign mode, and after a very detailed tutorial, your task will be to turn a small clinic into a model hospital. Staff management will be crucial, as will carefully balancing costs and revenue. For those who love realism and complexity, it will be very hard to stop playing. 2 Point Museum is the chapter that transforms the series into a true paradise for management enthusiasts. You start with an empty hangar, lay the foundations, and room by room choose floors, display cases and artifacts as if you were the curator of the Uffizi. You'll immediately need to set the entrance fee, place donation boxes, organize guided tours, and set up souvenir shops. But that's not all. While in other similar titles, the staff just stays on the map cleaning, fixing, or cooking. Here, you'll also have to hire scholars to send on picturesque global expeditions to bring back fossils and rare treasures. If you train them well, they'll raise the museum's prestige with each new exhibition. The editor is intuitive, the campaign teaches everything with targeted objectives, and the sandbox mode lets you create the Louvre of your dreams. 2 Point Museum deserves a spot on the podium in the 2 Point trilogy because it combines creativity and monetization in a loop that rewards both the eye and the wallet. To wrap up the trilogy dedicated to health and education tycoons, I return to the hilarious world of 2 Point Studios, this time to talk about their university simulator, 2 Point Campus. Now, you'll be selling academic dreams to distracted students. This title improves on the formula already tested in their previous games and deepens the aspect of construction and space management. You'll now need to manage large green areas for students' outdoor activities, or build elaborate classrooms from scratch for quirky lessons. You can offer more than a dozen different degree programs and keep track of new enrollments until they stabilize over time. In short, it's perfect if your dream is to build a university in your own image and likeness. Few things are as relaxing as hammering a nail into a digital wall without messing up the real living room. In House Flipper 2, you start with simple missions, spatula in hand and vacuum at the ready. Then you move on to buying entire houses, flipping them like socks, reselling and counting your profits. The new sandbox mode gives you an empty lot where you can build your dream villa brick by brick and share it on mod.io. The graphics are colorful, the controls are smooth, and the game doesn't put too much pressure on the player. If you love the idea of tidying up while listening to podcasts, you'll find your restoration nirvana here. Now welcome to the world of toy real estate, the Tenants. Here, you buy apartments, clean them up, and furnish them with taste or pure cynicism, depending on the tenants you want to attract. You can try to raise the rent by adding extra rooms, but be careful as you're also exposing yourself to extra risks. Things like broken pipes, cockroaches, and tenants who ignore deadlines and are late on their rent. You can be a kind landlord or one with a quick eviction notice in hand. Other things to highlight are the high level of customization, a low poly style that brings a smile, and a loop that will have you saying, "Just one more auction, and then I'll go to bed." So, where does all the evicted people end up? Hopefully in a hotel. In ours, I'd say. In Hotel Architect, the ultimate test is the Michelin star of tourism. You can play through a campaign with various scenarios. For example, take a decaying 3-star hotel and turn it into a resort worthy of a new TikTok trend. Then there's the sandbox mode. Start with an empty plot of land, a customizable budget, and the only limit is your imagination. You can choose to develop a business based around a wellness center for the radical chic or a business center for the suit and tie crowd. The stuff is fun and full of pros and cons. I think there's great potential for an excellent title once it leaves early access. Now, let's take a break from thinking about walls, rooms, and houses and focus on some good old craftsmanship. In Potion Craft, you open your shop in a dusty shack and begin pounding ingredients together. Every herb ground with mortar and pestle determines the course of your potion, and the bellows set its final effect. You'll manage relationships with various traveling merchants, bargaining over prices, because depending on their rarity, ingredients can get really expensive. Customers of all kinds knock at your door, knights seeking healing tonics, and evil wizards looking for deadly poisons. It's the perfect game for those who want to combine a sacred love for medieval alchemy with a more profane passion for clinking coins. In a low poly forge, your team of craftsmen works from dawn till dusk, while the city bustles just outside the door. In Blacksmith Master, you need to assign each worker tasks that match their skills. It's important to keep an eye on the flow of minerals and ensure you forge the merchant orders on time for the traders waiting outside your shop. Thanks to a clear interface, you'll find yourself placing anvils, shelves, and decorative plants across multiple floors, aiming to create a forge that is not only visually pleasing, but also efficient in both movement and execution. An early access title that promises to relax you, but at the same time challenge you to achieve ever more satisfying results. Back to alchemy, but with a modern twist. If your dream is to profit from the demand for medicine, this one's for you. In Big Pharma, you'll select active ingredients with both beneficial effects and side effects, adjusting their concentration through machines that move values within the ideal therapeutic window. The game is highly focused on building production lines with conveyor belts and rotating modules to make the most of factory space that feels like a puzzle. Perfect only for villains? Nah. But let's say you'll love it if you're a big fan of complex logistics. In Turmoil, you become an oil prospector in the 1800s. The cycle is always the same, but it never gets old. When the game starts, you have to find the richest oil deposit with the help of dowsers, then place your drilling rig, adjust intricate networks of pipes and valves, and rush to sell at the best price before your rivals. Or you could wait. Stockpile the black gold until the market begs for just one drop, then sell your fortune at triple the price. At the end of each round, you return to town to buy upgrades, bid on new plots of land, and dive into the next race until you're rich enough to buy the mayor and win the game. The pace is fast, the learning curve starts off easy, but hides nuances that become more apparent over time, making this old gem still damn charming. If you love the idea of a simple yet competitive management game, Turmoil will be a ton of fun. Few city builders let you play the role of both leader and businessman, like Tropico 6. You can build an egalitarian utopia where laborers earn as much as programmers, or govern with an iron fist and turn every life into a profitable export. From colonial days to the modern world, you'll manage housing, roads, foreign trade, and most importantly, the political factions demanding food, freedom, or security. Satisfying one need often sacrifices another, so every urban planning decision becomes a power choice. The freedom of role, combined with its deep economic mechanics and missions spanning 4 historical eras, explains why Tropico 6 earned its spot in the 23rd best city builders I've featured on this channel. If you haven't seen that video yet, I'll leave the link in the description. You've seen shops, parks, hospitals, and even dictatorships rise. But now I ask you, if you dig into your memory, what was the first commercial empire you built in a video game? And what will be the next? Tell me in the comments. And if you've made it this far, I owe you a big thank you. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you write profit margin in the comments, I'll drop a heart. Feel free to hide the phrase in a long comment. I'll find it since I read them all. Say, D. If the video inspired you, hit that subscribe button. See you next time. Andrew out.